The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Be Kind Rewind podcast. I am your host, the Big Llama. Tonight is an episode that we're going to be talking about the movie The Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix, Todd Phillips directed movie. I have a very special guest with me, our very own resident chat mom. Chat mom, she's going to be joining us for tonight's podcast. I can't wait to get into it. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again on the Be Kind Rewind podcast. I'm the Big Llama, your host. Again, before I bring on the chat mom, I just want to do a couple of things, a couple of housekeeping things, right? One, this is an adult podcast, so please make sure that you're not listening to this with folks underage. We are going to use some colorful language, and we are talking about mature subjects and themes. So I want to make sure everyone knows that we are going to be, it's an adult podcast, so please make sure you're not listening to this with the kids. Also, if you'd like to support the channel and you'd like to be, you'd like to help this channel, the best thing to do is to go onto YouTube, look up The Big Llama Show, and like and subscribe to the show and to the channel. That is my main channel. If you're listening to this on the podcast, please make sure that on the podcast you subscribe, you like, and you give a comment, and make sure that you hit the bell notifications so you know whenever we post podcasts. All right, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. Let's bring on Chat Mom. She is a member of Blackout. She's been on the show with us many times on our Sunday night live streams, and we've been talking about doing this reaction or talking about the Joker for a very long time. So we're finally getting a chance to sit together and talk about it, and here's the show. Enjoy, guys. Chat Mom, welcome to the show.
Hi, Big Llama. Thank you for having me. I shaved my head for this event. Got a fresh lid.
Well, again, I told you I could remove the cap and we would be the same, but
we would look exactly the same. It would be perfect. It would just, I would have eyelashes and earrings and we would be the same person.
Oh my God. I realized I didn't tell anybody what podcast we're talking about. So
oh yeah.
I didn't do that. So we're going to be talking about the movie Joker, the Todd Phillips directed, Joaquin Phoenix starring in the movie The Joker, and one of my favorites. And leading up to watching the movie in the theaters, there was all that hype that it's ultra violent and it's the messages, but I found it to be just a perfect character study of just a character, right? I don't want to say about mental health. It is about mental health, and there are topics and themes that they visit, but it just really was a great breakdown of a character, what he goes through, his development, and how he sort of changes throughout the story. So I found it to be fascinating. What things about the movie, and then we're going to talk about a lot of things, but just in general, what things about the movie sort of struck you the most?
So the very first thing, so it's not even one of my favorite movies, but I absolutely love the color theory in the movie. And as soon as you start the movie, it's just everything about the color is insane how they did it. So that was something that stood out the most to me, and just like watching it, even now I have it on in the background right now muted, and I'm just like taken aback by all the colors. And I know I did a lot of research. I have no proof that it was intentional, but it had to be intentional. There's no way that it wasn't intentional. But that's really my number one thing. And then the second thing is, like you were talking about mental health. I really love that they put someone as the Joker, or just like my main character in general, that has clear mental illness, but that's not why he's an asshole. That's not why he ends up becoming the Joker. His mental illness isn't what made him a bad guy. So it's kind of a different perspective, because a lot of times you have these characters and their backstory is they're mentally ill, so they're bad. But this is like a whole different take, and I really appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, I found it to be, and again, people take it differently, but I found it to be both, again, looking at the trauma that he went through to arrive at this point, because you don't see the trauma. You get clues throughout the movie about what happened to him in his youth.
Yeah.
But it's also a movie that I think dives into like society's part and the support systems that are out there. And I think, and some people are like, oh God, that's a little bit too, political. It's not about being political. It's about being honest about
Yeah, for real.
what we do for mental health, right? Like how do we support mental health as a country or as, as a society? And we stigmatize it. Even though recently I think there's been a bigger force of people to try to like get out there to talk about mental health. But
I definitely think there's been it's been on the rise for real, especially like men's mental health, because that's been a huge thing of just being ignored for a very long time. So that's been a huge thing. I feel like that's starting to kind of pick up and just like taking away the stigma of having any type of disorder. I think it's really helpful. But I think a lot of those things kind of like fit in certain spaces, like anxiety is totally fine, but what does he have? He has like what is it called? Pseudobulbar or whatever, where you laugh and cry.
Yep.
I probably I think down the line they talk about, all the abuse, probably a TBI, a brain injury. And that's probably what caused it. Well, that's just me like assuming that's probably what caused it. But that's not acceptable still. That still makes him such an outcast. He has his little card. He tries to be approachable and give people the card, and they're still kind of like, and honestly, even when I'm watching it, I'm like, if I was with my kids on the bus or the train and this guy, I wouldn't have been so rude, but if this guy just starts laughing and he hands me a card, I would feel a little uncomfortable. Like I've been on plenty city buses. Like I wouldn't want somebody just like laughing uncontrollably in my face. And again, I wouldn't be rude, but that's a hard one to get past. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody has PTSD now, but like he's very, I don't know. He has those things that still are not acceptable,
Yeah. I mean, his socialization and the way that he just kind of carries himself is still a little bit out there. And I don't think he means to do it, right? But at the same time, by normal sort of context, you go, "Oh, this guy is a little creepy." Like if you don't, in this world, in that world of the movie, you don't know about Jokers and Batmans and things like that. So as a movie going audience, knowing the title of the movie, we kind of like, "Oh, they're being so mean to this guy." But at the same time, if you're honest with yourself, would you be as caring and kind if someone approached you like that? Probably not. And I've had people approach me that were selling things because they say that they're deaf or they have the cards and they you read the cards. And so I'm always kind of leery, but I want to help. But at the same time, I'm being honest.
I get that. I try to be as kind as possible. Like I lived in Philly for a really long time, and I had my jelly donut guy. So he was the homeless man who was at Dunkin' Donuts. Anytime I was there, I knew his order: jelly donut, small hot black coffee. He was ready to go, and he loved that shit, right? And I think if you kind of trust your gut, who is okay to be around and who's not, who's kind of trying to fuck with you and who's not. But at the same time, it's like I always try to be kind to everybody, but there's a creep factor. Like I'm at the scene right now where his neighbor, they're kind of being a little flirty, and you don't know if it's all in his head or if she's actually being flirty with him. And then down the line, he ends up in her room, in her house when her kid's there. And you're like, you smiled at the wrong person that day. And that happened. That happens. Like, so it's like, you just don't know where's that line,
Yeah. And like I say, it's one of those things where in the movie is masterfully done where her actions, it's almost like, was it The Sixth Sense or those movies where someone isn't really there, right? Like
Beautiful Mind.
Yeah. It's
Big Llama.
It's so
you don't know this about me. Okay, you've seen A Beautiful Mind, yes?
Yes.
Have you seen it? Okay, so the whole time I'm watching this, I kept thinking about Beautiful Mind, but you don't know that I have a Beautiful Mind complex, okay? Ever since, anytime there's anything good going on, or like something seems too good to be true, I am so afraid that I'm imagining the whole thing and I'm just talking to myself, right? Because of that movie. And ever since I met Ben and like I'm married to him, I'm like, what if I'm not? What if I'm not really married to him? What if I'm just like living in like a cardboard box somewhere? Or what if I really do live here, but I'm still just like a single mom and I dreamed up some guy, right? He's not here right now. Where is he on camera, llama? Right? So I don't know. And I learned that this complex like happened. I'm not going to get too into detail with it, but I learned how this happened. My mom randomly told me that like out of nowhere one day, oh yeah, you were in therapy. I had you in therapy when you were a kid because you know, your father when your brother was born wouldn't let you talk about him when you would go visit him on weekends. You weren't allowed to mention him at all. And there's like a whole backstory to that. We're not going to talk about it, but when I was like 3 years old, I wasn't allowed to talk about my favorite person and thing in this whole world. And like, it gave me such a complex. I had to go to therapy and I didn't know. And now I'm like, okay, so I'm a beautiful mind. I am Joker. This is what happened to me.
Yeah.
Watching him imagine these things with this woman, I'm like, am I imagining my whole life with Beth?
Well, it's for me, and I don't think I have the same thought process in that regard. But I'm always afraid the bottom is going to fall out.
Oh, like, the other shoe.
Yeah, because I'll give you my trauma in 30 seconds, I guess.
Yeah, 30 freaking trauma.
I always tell people is like I appreciate everything that I have, that I do, that I'm able to do, because when I was younger, when I was a kid, we had it we had it good. We felt like everything was good. And then through a series of events, my dad makes a decision, buys a business, it fails, we go poor. We are in the ghetto. We're struggling, and I hated the feeling of going from what I thought was making it in America, because I'm from Peru. I was like, before I came here, I'm walking in dirt streets and going to school, and there's earthquakes and there's all this shit that I can recall. And then coming here and be like, there's movies and there's this. I lived in a country club because my dad worked at the country club, and it was one of these things where
rich people shit right there. Country club in it. That's wild. Yeah.
I mean,
that's enough to give you a complex, though. Just that.
Right. We were cleaning tables and shit, but we had country club privileges. But no, I was like, man, this is it. I've made it. We've made it. And again, as a kid, you don't know that you made it, but when it all got taken away, I was like, oh my God. So ever since then, I've feared, and every decision that I make and everything that I do, am I gonna hit that bottom? Am I going to hit that wall where my family thinks that we've lost everything? And so for a long time, that was kind of my complex, was like, this is too good to be true. For a long time, I thought everything I do is hard. There was never easy.
Like that's the universal trauma. Everything is too hard, and nothing good is going to last. That's like everybody.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
Yeah. And then so that's the thing. I've always kind of worked in that space where I'm always afraid of what is going to break this thing that's going really, really well. So same in regard with the Joker, in sort of, he thinks it's there, it's not there, right? But I think when we go back to like dissecting the movie from beginning to end, there's obviously, he's already in stages of mental health. He's seeing counselors, he's taking medications. But what you find is just like what we're describing is a series of events, things that just continue to happen to him, that for a while he coped. For a while he was not normal, but I think he was just, able to function and able to exist in society. And then the funding gets cut. The mother is this, it's all of these things and then you couple that with the trauma that he's gone through, and he starts to discover the old wounds and why he's the way that he is.
And even before those things, you see his mom and you're like, she has like, what is it? Uncle Joe syndrome. She's in bed all the time, in the house all the time. She's like agoraphobic, kind of writing weird letters and like very self-centered. She's obviously like, narcissist, and he clearly is too. They're both narcissists, but like, it's just so strange that you kind of already get it. You're like, okay, this guy still lives with his mom. Like, not that that's a bad thing, but in his case, it's clearly like way too codependent of a relationship, and you kind of already are seeing those weird signs. And then obviously, you know, like the laughing and the crying, that's a whole, oh, ew, he's having a delusion of her right now. He thinks she's there saying hello and flirting. Sorry, it upset me. But like, you know, you see all the build up to it. And then when that happens, when he gets that file, which I love that scene when he's like fighting the guy for the file. I think it's hysterical. God, yeah, I love that. But like when he finally gets that file, like your heart kind of sinks, you know, like,
yeah.
And he has all that. I mean, honestly, that's when also in the whole realm of the color theory and everything, that's when secondary colors really start popping up. So like greens start showing up when he's in the hospital with his mom after he's already read the file.
Oh yeah.
And he, you know, he moves in to smother her. That's when a lot of green starts happening, because all throughout from the very beginning to the very end, it's all primary colors: red, yellow, blue. The sign in the very beginning, yellow. The only green you see in the beginning is his hair. That's the only secondary color. So you don't really see any purple, any green, any orange until it kind of starts to move. Obviously, there's little specks here and there, but he has that green wig. That's the only secondary color. And you just have all the kids have yellow shirts, yellow sign, blue shirts. And there was, I can't remember the article that I read when I was going crazy. There's no articles on this. There's like one article.
That means you have to author one. You have to put one together.
Well, the person that I don't know their name. It was like Moon something article. I can't remember. I had it in my notebook that I lost. But they said what they related to the colors were that red was the things that he loved and enjoyed. Blue was like Gotham and society and like everything that pushed him down. And yellow was like him losing control and the things that made him feel like he was out of control. I don't 100% agree with those things, but they definitely can fit. I can see how this person made like a really good case, and they had like all different like itemized things and like photo shots of each piece, and it really does fit. The lighting specifically was something that was like really important to create all the yellows too. And I watched like a whole Vanity Fair like YouTube thing on the cinematographer. Why can't I say cinematographer, you know, that did everything. And he kind of, what's his name? Like Lawrence Sher. Am I saying his name right?
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Right. Well, first of all, I don't like his attitude. Like he just seems like really like full of himself. But I think more I didn't like his attitude because he didn't do anything intentionally. Nothing. He mentioned nothing.
Oh.
None of this was intentional. Obviously, he went with his gut, and like he did a beautiful fucking job. I can't actually be mad, but I wanted a little more. I wanted him to be like, yeah, I only did primary colors, and then at the end I did a little bit of this. But he didn't say any of that. He just kept talking about the colors, and the lights. Oh, the lights to make yellow. That's it. That's all he kept talking about. And like a big thing was the lamps. So I don't know if you remember in the movie, throughout the whole thing, all the lights are very like yellowy, and like the streetlight lamps. They filmed like a lot at dusk. He said they kept filming at dusk to catch that like that blue in the air, but then those lamps, they use those really fluorescent lamps. What were they? There's something specifically.
Halogens?
Yeah. To like make that ugly yellow. Oh. And he was like obsessed with it. He kept talking about that. And I'm like, well, tell me about purple. Tell me about the purple you used at the end. And he never did. And I kept getting really frustrated, but the lights,
the only thing when you mentioned the color thing, and I looked up a couple things, but I remember, and this is the only thing that I can think of from beginning to end, right? When you first see the Joker or Arthur Fleck, when you first see him, he's on a white base. His face is white.
Yep.
He's got nothing else on, and he's starting to apply the colors.
Yep.
And at the end, it's all white. So
Yep.
now, whether it was on purpose or not, this guy is probably not going to give us the answer, but you could actually draw a lot from.
Bro, it has to be intentional. You cannot do something this fucking fantastic in color theory on accident. There's no way. Llama. It starts off with all primary colors, and as it was going, I was telling Herc, I was like, I'm telling you, a major scene, some orange is going to get introduced to this. Like the clothes that he wears, everything he wears, I was just waiting, and I was like, something happened, and I was like, this is when it's going to happen. This is when the secondary colors are going to come in. And I knew they don't put him, obviously in his signature suit or anything, which I kind of liked. So some people were a little mad about it, but I thought it was cool. He doesn't have to have, the purple, but I don't know if anybody noticed this, but the second time I was watching it, I noticed it a little bit the first time. There is no purple in the entire movie. None. There is no purple in the entire movie until the very end when he's about to go on stage of the show.
Because the curtains and everything. Yeah.
There's one purple light, big purple light. And I was like, there it is. There's the purple. They have not a single purple thing. They do green and they do orange in like big moments, but the purple shows up at the very end. And I will rewatch it 100 times and try to find purple anywhere else. When he is when he goes from Fleck to Joker, and something's about to go down, they have that purple fluorescent light flashing up before he goes on stage. And I was like, there it is. We found it.
Well, you mentioned like him going from Fleck to Joker. I think one of the things that was very interesting, and we're going to play a scene later because I want to break down the scene. It's obviously the big scene at the end because it encapsulates the entire movie in a scene. His transformation, his thought process, and then obviously his the violence that comes with it. But for me, I kept looking at this, and what I saw was that he has moments of happiness. There are moments of happiness in his life. The problem is these moments are created by things that are weird. Like and the moments that give him happiness are
inappropriate
to be but they cause him to dance and they cause him to give an expression of confidence. And so as he's making this transition, you slowly, if again, you have to see it on the rewatch. The first time you watch it, you really don't pick up on it. But the second and third time I saw it, when something goes bad, when he first gets the gun, and he's like thinking about shooting himself and thinking about what is he going to do with this gun, he's dancing with it. It's the one moment that he is more confident than he's ever been. After he shoots the guys in the subway, he goes into the bathroom. And he does the slow, methodic dance, and he's looking at himself. He's loving that piece of it, that feeling. There's happiness there. I don't know why there's happiness there. I couldn't
right
tell
now.
You that, but.
In the background, he's dancing right now. As you said that, I don't know what scene this is exactly. Oh no, it's in the bathroom. Yeah, it's the scene you were just talking about. He's got the blood all over his face, and he's just dancing, living his best life.
Right. And so there those little things after he transforms himself, he's going down that big staircase. He's dancing. He's enjoying it. Before he goes on the show, he's as confident as he can be, because when those things open, it looks effortless. He looks like he's in his element.
Yeah.
When you know he it's not him anymore.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I pick up on.
He stopped taking his medication. Right. He says, "Oh, I haven't been taking my medication." And then you're like, "Okay."
He has a false sense. He has a false sense of feeling good because he's feeling moments of happiness, but having done some pretty serious things.
Yeah.
And then I think this was the big thing. The big wake up for me was I knew he wanted to kill himself. Basically, he writes it in a book. He says it. He practices it in the when he has the gun in the apartment. But in the scene with Robert De Niro, it changes his mind because he's lost control, not of himself, but of the situation of what. See, he has this feeling of, I got this, this whatever his persona is, and Dinero just pushes and needles, and and it's just like, and at that moment, when I first watched it, I go, first of all, I thought he was going to take down the entire audience. I thought he was just going to go crazy and do that. I'm like, that maybe that's what people were talking about. It's too violent. And then the fact that Robert De Niro just kept pushing, and you can see it, the transformation, the different voice change. I was like, oh dear God, he's going to kill De Niro, and he's going to do it right here. And when he does it, I was still shocked, but I was, this is going to sound terrible, I was oddly satisfied that happened, only because it's his rage built up to a certain point in a certain level.
And we were all feeling that rage at that point. This is another thing that this movie does that I feel like doesn't typically happen with people with mental illness, or people who are maybe with violence. Yeah, we always, a lot of the heroes are violent. We're like, yeah, get him. But he is not the good guy. He's not the good guy. He does he's riddled with all these different mental illnesses that make him make us uncomfortable watching him, but we still empathize with him. We empathize with him. We are empathizing with someone who has done all these bizarre things, and in the end, like you said, maybe we don't agree with it, but we're kind of comfortable with what he did. Yeah, we're kind of okay with it. We're like, you know what? You're right. We're agitated. Like, I felt so uncomfortable rewatching this, and I was like, he just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Certain things he does, he just makes me so uncomfortable. But you do feel really fucking bad for him, because everything has gone wrong for him. Everything is constantly going wrong for him. And honestly, it's super relatable. I don't think unless you're you live your perfect fucking life and you've never dealt with any trauma ever, which apparently there's people like that. I don't know. Probably people who hate this movie, but
probably,
I'm just saying, but it doesn't matter how uncomfortable he makes you, because you've made people uncomfortable sometime in your life like that, and you can relate. You're like, you've had that awkward moment. If somebody's yelled at you on a bus, if you got fired from a job, or your coworkers were pieces of shit to you, or if one of your parents is a piece of shit, it's, if you're just awkward, I'm just awkward. So I related to all the awkward shit, and they just make you empathize. So at the end, even though it's absolutely terrible, you're kind of like, all right, I would do that too. Whatever. If I was him and this was the situation, maybe I'm okay with it. And it makes you a little bit more comfortable with that bad, the big bad.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think De Niro was so unlikable at that moment, because Arthur tells you why. He tells him, you're awful. Yeah, you're awful because you're exploiting me. You did this to make fun of me. And when you hear that from his perspective, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not. De Niro brings the guy, his character. Murray.
Murray. He starts saying it. Murray. Every time. It's like Murray. Just keeps going.
But see, I think Murray's voice was the voice of society, right? I think if you break it down that way, you go, okay, he is the voice that says the cliche thing, which is pick yourself up by your bootstraps. Not everyone is so awful. Typical, the world is in a right. And so, like I said, I think people got pissed off at that. Was that it's a commentary on what life is today, which is there are people who feel, even though they're probably dealing with demons and things, that they feel like people like that are weak and they are a problem and they should just go away, go on an island. And they want to make fun of it. For me, I sympathize, or I empathize with people who have conditions. I know myself, probably has some form of depression of some sort. Who knows? Yeah. But because, a grown man like me cries all the time at commercials and whatever. But again,
Mama, I think we have the pseudobulbar thing. No joke. Maybe. I've been crying all week for no goddamn reason. None. Like for over stupid shit. I didn't cry watching the goddamn movie. I cried over something stupid, like nothing. And then like I'm like, maybe I have this. Maybe I have this random cry disorder. Like when did I hit? I fell down the steps when I was a kid. Maybe that's it. I don't know, but
I know the source of mine, and I don't care to tell everybody. I mean, I'll tell everybody. The source of mine was my father, and I'll be blunt and honest.
Me too.
He just, you know, and again, I this is why I like the podcast, is because we get to be real and just talk about shit.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a movie. And honestly, what I find that makes me cry in movies or makes me emotional in movies is the connection I get from my real life. Like if something hits home, or in a really, really good movie, the character, the way that the character I'm drawn to makes me cry. But for the most part, the reason I get emotional or I'm upset in movies is because of something that relates to me. And in this case, I know why I cry all the time, and I know what makes, because my father made it damn near impossible to want to be able to cry. It's a male thing. It's a macho Hispanic thing that men don't cry. And if you do cry, like I can remember, there was a movie, and this is this traumatic movie for me. It's not a bad movie. It's called Savannah Smiles. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was like
I know the name. I feel like I should have seen it, but I don't think I have.
Now, mind you, I can remember this vividly. I am 6 years old. I think I'm 6 years old. I'm watching this movie on the floor. Listen, I'm watching this movie on the floor. I'm sitting there and I cry because I was sad for okay, synopsis of the movie. It's two guys who kidnap this girl and they wind up like, they're not nefarious. They're not trying to do bad things. They're just trying to get money or whatever.
Yeah.
But the girl befriends them and becomes, and they get really close. So when they separate at the end of the movie, because obviously they're kidnapped her and they got to go to jail, I felt so terrible. I sobbed like uncontrollably. My mom in one side of the room, like asked me if I'm okay. I said, no, I'm fine. And I'm crying. And now I'm crying more because she's asking me about it.
Yeah.
And I can remember this vividly. My father on the other end of the room, he's like, what are you crying for, you ninny? What's going on? And I'm like,
ninny, there's your word.
That's the word for me.
It's a trigger word for you, isn't it?
It's, oh my God, it is totally the trigger word. But any time that I cried, because you get emotional, you get, as a teenager growing up, I get pissed off at, they told me no, I couldn't go somewhere, I'd cry, not like boo-hoo, but I would just get upset. And my dad would always hit me with that word, or he would say something to challenge my manhood. And it's like, for a while, I never cried. And for a while, I never got upset. So it's things like that I connect with. And so even with this movie, I connect with the fact that he's just never accepted, right? He's never accepted. He knows he's not accepted. And that's the hard part, because he's trying to be normal. He's trying what people consider normal. And then he's on medication. He's in therapy. He's doing, it's like.
He's doing all the right things.
Right.
And he's still getting shit on, which is how life is. Very much life is like that. You can do all the right things and things are just still not going to go your way, which, I mean, that's the whole, for this movie, but like the whole Joker premise, he's doing weird shit in the movie again right now. I'm just watching it. Like he's making faces at the poster of the clown. And I'm like, oh, why are you doing that? But
well, he sees reflections. I think he sees reflections of what he thinks he wants to be.
Yeah.
He says that though in the movie. He goes, "Do I look like someone who can start a movement? It's not about. It's not anything I wanted to plan to do." But he doesn't mind the attention. He's reveling in it. And at the end, when the scene where he puts the blood on his face and he smiles, it's such a powerful scene with the music. And we got to talk about the music too. I mean, that first of all, the music when he does the smile thing is amazing. But when he's in the bathroom the first time after he kills those guys in the subway, and that music hits and he's just dancing in it, I was just like goosebumps. I had goosebumps watching that scene. And then the last scene with Murray, I'm just gonna say it that way. the buildup of those drums and that just pounding, and that's kind of registers emotional thoughts in me. I'm like, you hear the pounding, you see the scene escalate, and you're just like, holy shit! It brings your like tension and your anxiety to a level when you're just watching the movie. I was anxious to see what the fuck is going to happen next.
Yeah, I just really appreciate all of the senses that they bring. You know, they really bring a lot of just different elements to, obviously with the color and then the music. They bring so much, and the movement. Like they hit every. I don't know if you know about like the elements of art or anything like that, but they hit so many of those things, and that's why it makes it objectively a good film. You can't subjectively, you can hate the story, you can hate whatever, you can do this. The way it was filmed, the sound, the movement, you can't, it's objectively done very well. The lighting, the emphasis, all of the things, the line, the shape, every single thing, all of the elements of art are there, and they're strong, and they're somehow, somebody made them intentional. We don't know who, but they're intentional. It feels intentional.
It you know what I always think about too is the guy who made the movie, the director Todd Phillips, is the same guy who does The Hangover.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like, first of all, why is it, I would say this? Why is that like a knock on that guy? The guy makes good films. He makes good movies, and The Hangover was funny. It was filmed really nice, but he did his thing in this movie, and I don't like people shit on him like, oh, he did The Hangover. It's two separate movies. Like
people will shit on anything, and you don't have to like this movie. I was reading a few reviews, and I was like, whatever. I'm not going to finish that review. You're stupid. Like, get the stick out of your ass for 5 seconds, and just, you don't have to listen to. I have it on mute right now, and it's beautiful. Everything is beautiful. He's reading the letters that his mom was writing. And it's just the way, even the movement of the letters, everything, the lighting, I don't know, whatever. You can hate it all you want, but like I said, objectively, all the elements are there for just like a strong, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I don't care. Like I'm obsessed with the color, obviously. I can't stop talking about it, but it's just so striking. And you don't see a lot of movies like that anymore. You see like movies with 5 to 15 second frames of just like how I look right now, like all the washed out white color and like bright neon, whatever, flashing lights, explosion, and then it goes to the next thing. And this has just like so many patterns and colors, and it's just visually top tier. So whatever, I don't care. Everybody stupid ass comment. It's just not like it should be. It's supposed to be like the comic book, or it's supposed to be like this, or what. I don't care. It's good.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was another thing that kind of irritated me about some of the criticism about it. Is you could take away the Joker element, like you could have named him anything else, and take away the Bruce Wayne, and it doesn't change the narrative of the movie. It's still the character study. It's still, sort of the reflection of how society treats mental illness, and it has again, strip away even the name. Arthur Fleck is not a name that's synonymous with the Joker. It's a name that was made up for the movie.
Well, know about like the 3 Jokers, right? That theory, which I like. I think that kind of, it plays into that perfectly well. I think that's nice. Yeah, doesn't have to be anything. Anybody can be the Joker.
No, exactly. And the Joker is supposedly the origin story for Batman, because he killed his parents. Yep. And in this movie, clearly a guy dressed as the Joker, not the Joker, makes it happen. And so, but again, I here's the thing: is like you have people who argue and say that these Marvel movies and these comic book movies, they're too cartoony, they never get serious, they never have, and then you get a movie that does this. It's an art project. It's well made. It's got all the visuals. It's got everything you want in a great film, and then you shit all over it because it doesn't have enough comic book elements. Like which
too boring. It's too boring. I don't go. Okay, then go watch the cartoon. I don't know what you're expecting. Like things can be not like you can't make every person happy in the crowd. You're gonna have certain crowds that are happy, certain that are mad or whatever. But I just think the way that this was done was perfect. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
I really think, like I said, it's not even a favorite movie of mine. Like, it's just really good. I don't
Yeah.
I don't love it. It's not a movie. I've only seen this movie. This is the third time I've ever seen it, but it stuck with me. It like, it held up, and it's not something that I would just like forget ever.
Right.
I
Right.
think about the colors in this movie and the lighting in this movie like every week because it's just so fucking cool. I don't know. It's just cool. And
Yeah.
once
No,
you learn color theory or learn about certain things, those things stand out. And then when you see, it's like seeing a painting that you're just like, holy fuck, that's a really cool painting. And then those elements stand out to you all the time. That's how I feel about this film. Certain things just stuck out, and now I can't get them out of my head ever. It's always going to be
now,
there.
we should definitely point out the fact that you are an artiste, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you've painted, and
I have painted.
you have passion for. No, I'm saying this is why it impacts you so much on the color palettes.
I guess we should say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't painted in a very long time, but I did go to school for art, and I got my master's in art education. And I wanted to do like a minor in psychology, which they were offering for a little while, and then they were like, never mind, not enough people signed up. So like I had all of these like psychology credits barely, because I was a hot fucking mess in college. So I barely was holding on to those credits. I passed, but it was a struggle. And I remember I remember I didn't even want to go to college. I had a high school sweetheart. I wanted to stay. He was working or whatever, and my mom was like, "Are you fucking no joke?" My mom said, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I was like, "What? I'll go to Trenton State like you did," because my mom's an art teacher. And she's like, "You're not wasting your fucking talent. You're not doing that stupid shit that I did." And I was like, "What?" I didn't understand, because I just wanted to emulate her so much. And she did not want that for me at all. She wanted me to get the fuck out of the town that we were in. She wanted me to use my talent. And she applied me to a couple different colleges, and the couple that I got accepted to, we went and looked, and I ended up going to University of the Arts. And if I had given even one single fuck, I could probably have galleries right now. My teachers would get so frustrated with me, and they were like, "You have so much talent, but you just don't do any, you just don't care." And I didn't care, and I didn't realize I had talent until it was kind of, not that it's too late, but I was kind of like, meh. So so I just lived in Philly and fucked around with paint for a couple years, got my master's, and then started doing education stuff and started having kids. And here I am watching The Joker, and I'm like, the good old days with art theory,
well, again, I want to always point out the passion behind it, because there's a reason that you feel a certain way about the colors and the cinematography, is because it's your world. It's what you lived and what you have passion for. The same with me in terms of stories and, movies. And I tell people, movies are an escape for me. It's always been an escape for me. And this is why I love them. I have emotions to them. I lived through them. As a kid, my imagination was through the movies. I lived, oh, what if I did this? And and this is silly, right? But to tell you how nerdy it is for me, if I watched an inspirational movie, for example, I think I saw Rocky IV in the theater. Yeah, I'm old. I get it.
I haven't made a single old guy joke, Llama, because I'm also the old one in the group.
I'm sure in the comments, AD and the guys are going to say, "Oh, look, he saw Rocky IV. He was in Rocky IV."
Whatever.
But yeah,
they're going to just obsess over me looking like a thumb. It's fine.
No, if there's an inspirational movie, I put myself in the movie, and when I walked out of the theater, I walked with a swagger or my pump in my chest, whatever, because I felt the emotion of that movie, and it was great, and it was the best feeling in the world. So that's where my passion is in these movies. So we each come at it from different perspectives, right? So but again, here we are talking about a movie, right? And we're not only just breaking down the movie, but we're talking about our life experiences. We're talking about our own traumas and how we relate to the movie. So this is why I love this podcast. Is it could go anywhere. It could be strictly about the movie and technical things, or it could be anything we want it to be. So this is why I'm enjoying this conversation a lot. One thing I want to do is I want to just us break down a scene. So this is obviously the last scene in the movie, or one of the last scenes in the movie, where he's now coming on to the show with Murray. And so one thing I wanted to sort of look at, is just kind of the progression, because if you broke the movie down to this scene right here, you see Joaquin Phoenix is in his masterful performance of how he changes to the tone and the character and the attitude, all within this 2.5 minute scene.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously you get the agitator, who is Murray, and then you get the music. Everything is in this. So I just want to start playing it. We'll play it for about a minute, and we'll just break down what we just saw. Let's see. Let me play it here.
For killing
Can you hear
young men?
Yes.
No.
No more? Okay.
They couldn't carry a tune to save their lives. Oh, why is
So
everybody
this is
so
him
upset about these guys?
in his
If it was me
full
dying on the
Joker.
sidewalk, you'd walk right over me.
Now he
I'd
switches
pass
to
you
Arthur
every day
Fleck.
and you don't notice me. But
His
these
voice.
guys, what, because Thomas Wayne, when
Yeah.
you cried about them on TV?
You have a problem with Thomas Wayne. too.
Yes, I do. Have you seen what it's like out there, Murray?
See,
Did you ever actually leave the studio?
so he's going from Arthur to the Joker. Like you can feel it. Like he's switching. And at some point, the switch is gone. And that's for me, how I look at this scene. It's not about the violent ending of the scene. It's how I can start to identify and see the changes in his face.
Yeah.
There's going to be a close up, which I'll pause on, but it's you can start to see it.
Yells and screams.
And I love
at
this
each
line.
other. Nobody's civil anymore. Nobody thinks what it's like to be the other guy. You think men like Thomas Wayne ever think what it's like to be someone like me? To be somebody but themselves? They don't.
And that's it. To be somebody but themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key to who he is. He
And honestly, that's the key to the whole movie. We're all being put in his position. Like we're all him now,
Right. And then everybody's so mean if it was me on the street. And so this is the commentary now. This is where it pisses you off if you are that person on the street and you walk over or you don't do anything or whatever. And again, I don't want to say that people like that are bad. Sometimes it's just you have your emotion and you have your reasons why you don't do certain things.
I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And it's okay. And that's the thing. It's okay to be uncomfortable. It's okay to kind of protect yourself a little bit. Yeah. And but at the same time, again, commentary on the world and in general. So here he's just kind of he's now narrating to everybody.
They think that we'll just sit there and take it like good little boys, that we will werewolf and go wild.
You finished?
Mommy issues.
I mean, there's so much self-pity, Arthur. You sound like you're making excuses for killing those young men.
See, and then there's the voice of the
society.
Society. You finished? You done? You feeling sorry for yourself? And again, people feel uncomfortable because that is the truth. It's the people do think that is, and that's that to me was the stigma of mental health is you kind of got labeled, and then if you couldn't get past it and you were struggling, you were weak and you were less than a person. So.
Murray is literally everybody in the comments. Like when you shouldn't read the comment section, that's him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's who he is.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's
not everybody, and I'll tell you this, not everyone is awful.
Right here. This is the switch.
You're awful, Murray.
Me? Mm-hmm. I'm awful? Oh yeah, how am I awful?
There's the pain and the anger all boiled
wrinkle in his nose. When he wrinkles that nose,
his chin is quivering. Like he is so angry.
Wanted to make fun of me. You're just like the rest of them.
You don't know the first thing about me, pal. Look what happened because of what you did, what it led to. There were riots
he's
out
just
there.
lost it right here.
2 policemen are in critical condition. You're laughing. You're laughing. Someone.
He's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable because he's lost control.
Yeah.
But that anger and that pain is right there in that facial expression. Just, you're awful. And then he just gets in. Again, I forget that I'm watching a movie with the actor. This is like
he really is just a phenomenal fucking actor, though. Too. Everybody in this is really, really good, but he's just like, he took this shit to the next level.
Yeah. So again, this is one of my favorite scenes. There's many scenes in it, but this is obviously the climax of the movie. But if I were ever to study and want to talk, I would do a whole full essay on
today
this
because of what you did.
I know.
And he's sad. He's like, it looks like he's smiling, but there's sadness in his eyes and in his, he knows it's over. Now, This is the point. This is, again, my opinion only. This is the point when he decides he's going to kill Murray. I think he was going to kill himself.
Okay, so you think that he went in to make like a statement suicide, but instead he was like, nah, fuck Murray.
Right. I think that because he says, it's not in this scene that I played just now, but he says it just before, and it's a very childlike voice. He's like, I don't have anything to lose. He says it so innocently and so. Well,
those mommy issues were coming out hardcore.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
good little boy. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like, I'll werewolf out. Like, little kids say stuff like that.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think at this point, he decided, and that's why he's crying. He's not going to be in control, and he's just going to go with what he's feeling, and that's it.
How about another joke?
Right there, he's decided.
Love it.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash.
Call the police.
I'll tell you what you get.
Call the police.
You get what you fucking deserve.
And I got to pause it there.
Yeah.
But and again, the face, the society that is abandoned and treats him like shit. That is the movie. This is this is exactly what you're watching. And again, I'm not tearing up, but I'm getting emotional. He's obviously
he's a psychopath too. Like he's obviously absolutely. He makes those instant like decisions, like you said. Like he might have went in thinking I'm going to kill myself, but that narcissism and that I can't say it right, and like being a psychopath, he just makes that instant decision. No, I'm gonna kill him instead. I'm gonna do this instead, and it just happened.
And then this is finally this is his first genuine laugh. So if you notice in the movie, he doesn't laugh. He's not really that happy. This is his first genuine laugh. Right here. He puts his head back
sitting
and
there.
starts laughing.
Look at him. He is the Joker.
Right there. His first genuine moment of laughter. It's hard. So he realized it's over at that point, and
it's the first laugh that his brain isn't making him laugh. He's like you said, it's the first genuine one. And you're like, oh, it's happening. It's him. Just that lounge. The way he was lounging in that chair, I saw every other Joker before him.
Yep.
That body language.
Wow. There's a whole thing about, and again, I studied and I've read and I've looked at a couple of videos that break this down, and I see it now. But there's a piece where when you said he's sitting back, right? Mm-hmm. If you watch the movie back again, you'll notice that when he is nervous or he is building up anxiety, his legs shake and he goes through like this. So in the beginning, when you first meet him, his legs are shaking. He's kind of explaining himself, but he's, same thing here. At this moment, he slips back into that feeling. He's starting to shake. He's not sure what's going. Like he is analyzing like what the fuck just happened.
And those
because
those
he's
movements and that everything is so the Joker in like everything. He's every cartoon, every whatever. It's that lounge, it's that shake, it's that okay. What am I gonna do next? Like what's happening now? You know, that is the character,
yeah,
and that's
and
just
then
like
this
wild to me.
and then this right here, he just puts a couple more holes in him.
Yeah,
Is completely psychotic and completely just he's all this is it. Like
yeah.
there's no more control.
You know what?
Um,
I understand why. I think maybe it's easier for us because we know it's just a movie. We know it's just the character. We're in it because we love Batman. We love the Joker. But like, you know, in the current state of how everything is with all these, you know, shootings and just like mass shooting phenomenon, like I understand why. I do understand. Do I think it shouldn't be shown, or do I think I believe in like the whole freedom of speech thing. I think, you know, if you don't want to see it, don't watch it. But I
right,
do
right.
understand how afraid people are, because I'm
Of
afraid.
course.
You know, everybody's afraid, and like it's unhealthy that we can't have this character of chaos just be just a character of chaos, because there's actual fucking people out there who think they are, you know, like not capable, who think they are just, you know, worth being on the news after they've done something crazy. You know, it's not just a character anymore, and I think that's what people are so scared of. Do I think the movie
Yeah.
should be shit on for it? No. You know, it's rated what it's rated. Don't let your kids watch it. You know, just I get it. Do I think it's going to spark a whole bunch of shootings? Absolutely not. I don't think that that's the case, and it wasn't the case. But I understand why. Again, uncomfortable. It makes you uncomfortable. It makes you afraid, and it's a little too relatable. It's not a cartoon. You can relate to this. You empathize.
Right.
You understand. You know the society. I think this is supposed to be set in like the 80s, right?
Either late 70s, early 80s, I think. One of the
Yeah. So I
but
mean, like, it's not our time now, but it sure as fuck feels like it. So I get it. I
yeah.
get that lashback. I just don't agree with like you know, I don't agree with like the canceling of something just because it makes somebody uncomfortable.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I do like even
Yeah.
when I was watching that scene, I was like, oh, like if you remove yourself from this world that's been created, you're like. And some people watch these movies and they're not in the world. I'm in the fucking world. I was Batman when I was 2 years old, 3 years old, and 4 years old for Halloween, bro. I'm in this world, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in it. But some people are just not in it. You know, they don't have
Yeah.
that energy. So I do get it. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the movie works because it is just a great fucking movie. And
Yeah.
that's
So
the
good.
thing. It's not just a good superhero movie. It's a great fucking movie. And whether or not you're a fan, right? You can appreciate it for different levels. Again, I found myself the first time I watched it, I was in the world of comics. I was like, the Joker, I'm interested. I was blown away after the first viewing, and I said, "Fuck, this was great! Like this was visceral, and it was emotional, and I saw the messaging."
I love
Second time I
origin
watched it,
stories. I just love a good origin story. I don't care. I love
oh
it.
yeah, yeah. The second time I watched it, forgot all about the fucking Batman stuff. I was into the
Yeah.
character and the pieces. I didn't care that Bruce Wayne gets developed and the parents get killed. I didn't care about that the second time. The
Yeah.
first time, because I went in going, oh, this is a superhero movie, a Joker origin movie. I was like, wow, great. Second time, fuck that. I could care less about Bruce Wayne and fucking the Wayne family. I was so enthralled with the character. And then, it made me analyze. It made me read. It made me look into different videos. It made me watch video essays. And that to me is the sign of a great movie, is if it makes you think and it makes you want to learn more about a topic or, explore that topic. To me, job done at that point, right?
And I'm not a movie buff like you. I'm not a movie buff like you at all. So for it to have that impact on me is, I think, way different than you, because you live for this shit, right? I just watch movies and I like them for, different reasons. Like, I like shitty movies just as much as I like a good movie, you know? But obviously, this is next level shit. And there's only a few movies that I feel like Sling Blade. I love Sling Blade. I love the way it's filmed. What? It's so good. You've seen Sling Blade, right?
I have not seen Sling Blade. I've only seen
Lava!
I've only seen the memes and caricatures of that guy, but that's it. You know, I've not.
Mama, what the
Yeah.
actual? You need to.
See, and here's the thing, right? Here's where sometimes I feel like yes, I'm a movie buff, but sometimes I feel like a phony because like there are some classic movies that I'm like, I've never fucking seen it or I didn't have desire. But honestly,
Sling Blade.
Okay, so Sling Blade's on the list.
the way it's filmed is really, again, it's back to the my hatred of like 5-second clips and scenes. It's like they do so many just like hard like 5-minute scenes, you know, and I'm like, this shit's lit. I love that.
Yeah. Well, I've seen both ends of that spectrum, right? I've seen where they have really good movies that take their time to tell the story, and in today's world wouldn't be made. I know it wouldn't be made because there's just too much scenery. There's too much dialogue. There's too much character development.
That's
right?
what I love. That's what I like. I like that.
Yeah.
I have a weird taste, I guess. Like I really like, you wouldn't think, I guess maybe dramas you would think. I love a good drama. They have all the good shit and it has everything. Got a little funny stuff, got a little sad stuff. You know, I really love it. But I guess if you know me and you know like the weird movies that I watch, like I love action movies. Like I really love stupid action movies. Like Lethal Weapon. I really do. Like Lethal Weapon, Bad Boys, like all of those. I love those. I like horror films and I like suspense and thrillers, but I really fucking love dramas. Like I love Radio Flyer. Like probably never seen that either, huh, Llama?
Nope. No. I'm a phony.
You're not a phony because you haven't seen the couple movies that I like, but I'm judging you because they're so good. But they're really good, like classic dramas. And I think that's why I like this so much. Oh, he's in the mental institution now. We're getting to the end there. But
he's about to get interviewed.
Maybe. Oh wait, no, just kidding. Oh no. He's finding out about his mom.
Oh yeah.
And the abuse. I can't watch this part. I'll cry. I'll start crying on camera.
No crying. This is not the podcast can be anything we want it. So if you want to cry, that's fine.
I don't want to. I'm just gonna pretend I don't see it.
All right. So listen, I think this was again, this is what the podcast is all about, guys. It's 2 people or 3 people, or in some cases 6 people, depends on the movie. Just enjoying the movie, talking shit about it, enjoying it, talking about what you love, what you don't love, how it relates to life, whatever comes to mind. And those are the most enjoyable discussions that I like to listen to and I like to have with people. So if you like stuff like this, if you like the Be Kind Rewind podcast, we talk about movies, we talk about life, we talk about everything. But if you like this type of stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. Before we go, I have to ask you a couple of questions. One, have you seen? Because now we're at the end, so I'm gonna maybe try to get you to come back for another one. Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
No. Somebody just recently said that to me. No, I haven't seen that. Should I see it?
Okay. So I would. And there's no way to describe it, but it's a mind fuck. It just fucks with your mind. It's visually stunning.
Oh,
and
my brother!
Insane.
My brother said, "Oh, have you seen that?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, the end. It'll make you cry." And I was like, "I already cry at everything all at once. Anyway, it's fine." Like. But my brother mentioned it to me, the one who just had the baby. He brought it up, so he's the one, not me.
So the last 30 minutes or so, I don't think I stopped crying. I stopped crying enough to say something because I did the reaction to it. But I was an emotional wreck after that. So here's the challenge I throw out there is I'd like for you to see it whenever you get a chance, and then maybe come back on the Be Calm Rewind podcast and let's talk about it, because this challenge has backfired on me. Let me tell you why. I have a friend who used to work for me. She's a PhD poet. She's like very into astrology, signs, everything. Like we talked about everything during lunches. She was an awesome coworker, and I just was recently at her wedding reception. She had like a ceremony to make it official with her husband. I thought for sure she was going to love the movie, or at least feel the existential whatever. That's how she talks. And when I tell you, I text her, I was like, "Hey, did you watch the movie? You want to do the podcast with me?" She basically looked into me she fucking hated the movie. She fucking hated it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what have I done? What have I done?
Okay, well,
I felt
burn that bridge.
But given no, she was fine. Now I have to watch a movie, and she's going to come back for that. But given that I thought her mindset was close to mine, I said, you're going to fucking love it. And you're going to feel what I felt. And she was like, I fought to stay awake. I couldn't fucking stand this. I'm like, oh my God. She was like literally like angry texting me. So I'm going to challenge you to watch it. I hope you have the same reaction. If you don't, it's okay. I
mean, if
you fucking hate it, just tell me you hate it.
I'll fucking tell you. My brother loved it, and if you loved it, my brother loved it. I feel like you and I are very similar with like how we feel about things and how movies specifically affect us. And my brother and I are like the same person, except he's meaner. So I think he's meaner to me. He's mean to me. But I actually if I had a beard, I'd probably look like him right now. If I was a little thinner, I had like a beard, we like look like twins. But with my shaved head, I look like my other brother. And every time I don't have like eyelashes on, they're like, "You look just like Cody." And I'm like, "I know. What the fuck? We're siblings. Like, what the fuck?" But if he liked it and you liked it, I'll watch it. I am gonna be pissed that I'm fucking crying nonstop though. I'm gonna like get a crying headache. I don't like that. I've been actively trying to avoid things so I don't cry, but I will watch it.
Oh, well,
and I'll cry. I'll record myself crying.
I'll give you. Sure, if I'll put it on the channel. No, but like I'll just even telling you, I want you to go into it with whatever your perspective is, but I will tell you that it took me by surprise, to say the least, on how emotional I got, only because of it's broken down into parts. It's really interesting about how they did the movie, but when it first started, I was so nervous because it was so well revered. And honestly, the first 15 minutes, I almost fucking hated it for the first 15 minutes. I'm like, there's too much happening. There's too much. I'm trying to pay attention. There's too much fucking going on.
It's literally the title.
And that's what I came up with during the reaction. Was like, it must be just the title, because everything that was happening was insignificant in terms of dialogue. I was trying to like piece everything together.
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, I can't even put into words until you see this, why it hit me and how it hit me. So,
all right, I'll watch it. I'll record myself crying. When I come back on the podcast, you can put that in the background, like ugly crying. I'll put mascara on too, so you can really see. Like my face is already pretty swollen, like health shit. But like, if I cry, it'll be twice. My eyelids will be like really, really big. You won't see my eyes at all. And that can be the background of the podcast.
There you go. That's what we'll do. All right. So we're going to end the podcast on that note. We're going to have homework for Chat Mom to do. She's going to come back on the podcast in the near future to do Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All right, I will.
And I'm going to have you on whether or not you love it or you hate it. That way we have a fair and balanced discussion, because
I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good. All right. So let me close it out. I want to thank you very much, Chat Mom, for joining me tonight. No, I appreciate you. You've always been very supportive. You and Hercules have always been very supportive of the channel. I love the fact that you interact with everybody in the chat, and you are obviously the quote unquote chat mom.
I am chat mom.
You are chat mom for a reason. And so I am just thankful that you came on the show. This was a great conversation. I had a great time. I hope you did as well.
I did. It was very fun. Thank you.
No problem. So, guys, in the comments, let us know what you think about tonight's show, what you guys listen to, what you guys watch. If you are listening to this on a podcast, make sure you follow the podcast. We'll have many more podcasts coming out on the Beacon Rewind podcast. And again, if you want to support the channel, go to the Big Llama Show on YouTube and make sure to like and subscribe to videos there. I do first-time movie reactions and give you my analysis. Sometimes I'll do some trailer reactions and things, but I'm really focused on the movie reactions and obviously the Beacon Rewind podcast. So Chat Mom, thank you again for joining us. Appreciate it. We just broke down the Joker, guys. Thank you for joining us. Beacon Rewind, guys, and we're going to see you guys on the next one. Peace out, everybody.
First off, I don't care what you people say. Never follow rules. I'm a trendsetter anyway. Okay, I march to the beat of my own drum. They say I need rules in my life. Well, I got some. That's 1. Kill the competition. 2. Be a loyal dog. 3. And if they snitching on your man, send them to the morgue. 4. When you party, go hard till you hit the floor. 5. If you didn't see me do it, what the hell you asking for? Welcome to my world. SINA